Hello everyone, so in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to make a Breyer English saddle. There will be a link in the description to my Western saddle video if you want to go check that out. So the things you're going to need today for this saddle is some faux leather or real leather material, some strong glue, I'm using hot glue, and something to write with, some pliers and a pair of scissors, some popsicle sticks and either sandpaper or a nail file, jump rings in a variety of sizes, and paper clips, some leather cording or thin strips of a leather material, paperboard or thin cereal box cardboard, acrylic paint, some craft foam in any color, it doesn't matter, and finally some plastic wrap and rubber bands. You will also need a pattern. This is my pattern that I have made for the English saddle. I'm calling them pattern piece 1, 2, 3, and then the girth piece. In the description you will find a link to my Google Plus account, which will have a picture of the pattern that you can download if you'd like to print off a copy. Or you could also try copying your own from what you see on the screen, or making up your own pattern using this kind of idea. So first you're going to take pattern piece number 1, and you're going to trace it onto a piece of cardboard or paperboard. Then you're going to take your horse and just put some plastic wrap around it to protect the horse as we're doing this next stage. Then you're going to wet the cardboard and then mold it onto the horse in the position that you need it to be for the saddle. So put it where the saddle should go, and you can use rubber bands to help hold it in place. You can also lift the seat up a lot more than it should be, because it will go back down as we're working with it and flattening it out. Next we're going to make the stirrups. So to do that you're going to unfold a paper clip. Then I'm going to take the end and bend it up like this. After that, I'm going to go down a little bit more and then bend it up again. And then you're going to bend it back up to make kind of a square shape like this, but not like perfectly a square. It should be smaller at the top, more of a trapezoid. Then I took a little bit of glue and just glued the two pieces together where they met, right here. Then I cut off the extra hanging off of the short end, but the long end I took it and I folded it and kind of bended it into like a loop sort of shape on top of the square, like this. It's kind of going to look like a bell. Then you're going to take a piece of a popsicle stick, and I cut the rounded end off and then cut it in half. And then I took the thin piece and then filed down the edges to make it rounder, and then fit it in the bottom of the paper clip. Then I took some hot glue and just kind of made a little base to it, as well as gluing all the sides together that were loose. So now I'm gonna take my glue and just kind of shape it at the top a little bit. This is, I think, a little bit of a messier way to make the stirrups, but it has taken me so long to try to figure out a way. This is the best I could come up with. So hopefully you think they look okay. I ended up thinking they turned out pretty good. But yeah, this is probably not the most nice way to do it, but that's the best I could come up with. So then I'm going to paint them. I started with a coat of black and then silver. And then, like I said, it's a little bit messy, but they look pretty good in the end. Once pattern piece number 1 is dry, you're going to take it off the horse, and it should look something like this, and then you can cover it in leather. So it should look like this. Make sure there is some overhang around all the edges. Next, I'm going to take some craft foam and pattern piece number 3. Then I'm going to trace it onto the craft foam, so I have the shape on the foam. Then you're going to flip it and trace again, so you have 2 mirror image pieces. And then I did that 2 more times, so I have 2 of each piece. Next, I stacked 2 pieces together that were the same. Then you're just going to draw kind of a semicircle off of the smaller end. So you have one end that's really round and big, and then you have the other one which is kind of skinnier and smaller. Then you're just going to cut the end off so this piece is shorter than the first one, and repeat that for both. Then you're going to trace the newly cut piece onto another piece of craft foam. And you're going to stack those again, and then this time you're only going to keep the much larger, rounder end, so you can cut off the rest of the skinny part. So it should be something like this. After that, I took the foam and then I started gluing it to the bottom. So you got the rounder, fatter end up where the seat is, and then the skinnier end come around and underneath the front panel, like this. This is going to be the padding of the saddle. Then I glued the other side on. Then after that, I glued the smaller piece on. So I glued that on both sides, and then I glued the even smaller piece on top. Then I cut a small circle out of some more craft foam and glued that on both sides. Then after that, I did an even smaller circle and put that on both sides as well. So it should look something like this. Now you can begin to glue over the extra leather from the sides. Then you can put that aside, and we're going to take some jump rings and glue some strips of leather into them. Like this. Just slide it through and fold it over. And you should make 4 of these. So it should look like this once you've glued all the extra material over. Then we're going to cover the bottom. And make sure to push it and pull it so it gets all into all the little nooks and crannies. Then you're going to cut off the excess. So it should look a little messy like this right now. If you didn't use hot glue, you probably won't see the extra glue, but then you're going to take another strip of leather and glue it around just to kind of neaten everything up. Next, I'm going to go back to pattern piece number 1 and trace 2 of the front flaps out of leather. You don't need to trace the whole thing. Then you're going to trace a leather piece for pattern piece number 2. So I'm going to glue on the leather for pattern piece number 2, but I'm only going to glue a strip down the center, so the sides should still be open, so we can work underneath those. Then I'm going to pull up one side and glue down the front flap. Only glue it near the top, so it can still open up and close and everything. So then I did the same on the other side, like this. And then you can go ahead and glue down where the seat part is. So next we're going to glue one of the jump rings with the leather right underneath here. And it should just be covered by the little part at the front that kind of sticks out. And then do it for both sides. Next you're going to open up the other flap and then glue down the other piece, the other jump ring with the leather underneath that. So this should be the layer underneath where we glued the first jump ring. Then it should look like this. Next, you can lift up the flap and then glue down some more leather strips or faux leather cord. And you need 3 of these. Then you can go ahead and put some glue on top just to cover up all the messy edges. But don't glue down this whole thing all the way. And then after trimming them, it should look like this. And you can go ahead and glue down the rest of the top one, which is pattern piece number 2. So then it should look like this, and you're just going to glue down another strip of leather right next to the jump ring on the top. Then you can glue another strip of leather just to kind of the bottom corner of the flap, like this. Next you're going to slide on your strap to the strap, and then slide it up through the jump ring. Then you're going to pull it through and slide it down underneath that little strip of leather. So make sure you leave a little opening under there. Just glue down the ends. And it should look like this. And then when you pull up the side, you should have the 3 little, I don't know what they're called, but that's where the girth attaches, underneath there. And then the stirrups are fully adjustable, just like on a real English saddle. So next we're going to make the girth, since you can't really use the saddle without it. So for that you're going to cut one piece of leather for pattern piece number 4, or the girth pattern piece. Then you're going to glue on 2 strips of leather side by side, or suede cord. Next I cut a kind of square shape of leather, and then glued that onto the middle like this. Then I flip it around and then just glue back the extra. So it should look like this on the inside and then this on the good side. Next I'm going to open up a paper clip, or you can use another wire if you have any. Then I'm going to make a buckle. So a simple way to make a buckle is to just grab the end of the wire or paper clip and then wrap it all the way around your pliers. This makes the buckles a lot smaller, although they, in my opinion, don't look as realistic as the a little more complicated version, which I show how to make in my Breyer cowbell video. And then you need 4 of these. Then you're going to glue them to the end of the leather cord. So you just slide them on like this and then glue them over. So there is the finished girth with the buckles on the ends, and then that's what it should look like. Then you can just use some non-fraying fabric to make a quick and easy saddle pad. And then you just put the saddle pad on your horse, followed by the saddle. And then you take the girth and then just slide the buckles onto the pieces of leather underneath the flap of the saddle. And then on the other side, you just do the same thing and attach them, and it should look something like this when it's done. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you so much for watching. And again, in the description there will be a link to both the Western saddle video and the patterns. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.